Viewed through a modern analytical lens, The Streets of San Francisco emerges as a quietly radical work, one that challenges the viewer not through narrative shock but through sustained ambiguity, and when framed under the title One Last Trick, the series can be read as an exploration of how perception itself becomes the most powerful tool in both crime and law enforcement. Unlike many crime dramas that build momentum toward climactic reveals, this series often dissipates tension rather than escalating it, resolving cases with a sense of inevitability that feels closer to real life than scripted entertainment. And this structural choice reinforces the idea that truth is rarely dramatic when finally uncovered. Mike Stone's investigative presence anchors this philosophy, as his demeanor suggests a man who understands that certainty is a luxury rarely afforded in his profession, and his calm authority functions less as dominance and more as reassurance, both for the public and for himself. Steve Heller's role as a younger partner introduces friction not merely because of age difference, but because he embodies a belief in progress through action, in the idea that persistence and intelligence can overcome any obstacle, a belief that the series gently but consistently interrogates. One Last Trick becomes a conceptual thread linking these perspectives, suggesting that every confident assertion contains an element of performance, a necessary exaggeration of control in a world defined by unpredictability. The show's treatment of crime reflects this worldview by focusing on motivations rather than methods, allowing viewers to see how ordinary individuals slide into criminal behavior through incremental decisions rather than sudden moral collapse. Scenes of investigation are often understated, privileging conversation and observation over action, and this restraint forces the audience to engage more actively, reading between lines rather than waiting for explicit explanation. From a comparative standpoint, The Streets of San Francisco diverges sharply from later procedural formulas that prioritize forensic spectacle or serialized mystery arcs, instead offering self-contained narratives that nonetheless contribute to a cumulative portrait of institutional life. The city itself plays a crucial role in this portrait, depicted not as an iconic backdrop, but as a living environment shaped by economic disparity, cultural tension, and historical weight, all of which influence the crimes committed within it. One Last Trick, in this sense, also refers to the illusion of neutrality, the idea that law enforcement can operate outside social context, a notion the series quietly dismantles by showing how every investigation is entangled with politics, reputation, and public perception. Personal reflection deepens this analysis, as revisiting the series reveals how its pacing and tone demand a different kind of attention than contemporary television, one that rewards patience and contemplation rather than binge consumption. There is a humility in the show's storytelling that feels increasingly rare, a willingness to leave questions partially unanswered and to trust the audience with discomfort. This humility extends to its portrayal of authority, where Stone's experience does not grant him omniscience, but rather a refined awareness of what cannot be known. One Last Trick thus becomes a meditation on professional identity, on how individuals construct narratives of competence to survive within systems that constantly expose their vulnerability. The series repeatedly demonstrates that solving a case does not equate to resolving its consequences, and that justice achieved through procedure may still leave emotional and social damage unhealed. This thematic consistency lends the show a coherence that transcends individual episodes, allowing it to function as a long-form reflection on responsibility rather than a collection of isolated stories. In comparing it to other crime dramas of the era, one notices how rarely The Streets of San Francisco indulges in moral absolutism, preferring instead to situate wrongdoing within broader patterns of failure and adaptation. One Last Trick, therefore, is not a singular act but a recurring condition, the ongoing necessity of believing that order can be maintained through careful attention, even when experience suggests that chaos is never fully contained. The brilliance of the series lies in its refusal to dramatize this tension excessively, presenting it instead as a quiet, persistent undercurrent that shapes every interaction. By the time one finishes watching, the impression left is not excitement but contemplation, a sense that the true drama lies not in catching criminals but in maintaining ethical coherence over time. One Last Trick ultimately names the delicate balance the show achieves between realism and hope, acknowledging the limits of justice while still affirming the value of striving for it, a balance that continues to resonate precisely because it avoids spectacle in favor of sincerity.